Hello, and thank you for listening to this week's On the Verge Weekly. I am your host, Bob Fallon, and I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to do a first half award show. So, dun 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 dun. Let's give out some awards for the first half, starting in AAA, which has been a rough watch all year. Let's not cut any corners here. A lot of the prospects have been hurt. Reed Trimble, Peyton Eales. You got Enrique Bradfield Jr. has missed a lot of time. Creed Willems is now just coming back from injury. Judd Fabian has missed time. It's been for our prospect looking standpoint. It's not been much really there. It's at least on the position side. There's a little bit more on the pitching side, but without further ado, MVP is going to go to Creed Willems, who is a young catcher who really was surprising to even get the promotion to AAA to start the year. Got out of the gates pretty hot, pretty good, and then he never really cooled down. Many slumps here and there, but he ended the first half with a 260 batting average, 796 OPS. And yeah, he might not be able to play much defense behind the plate at catcher, but just a slugging lefty DH type, catch in a pinch, play first base in a pinch. You could certainly do worse, and he's having a heck of a year, regardless of what it means for his major league opportunities to come in the next year or so. On the pitching side, for Cy Young, I'm going to go with Nestor Erman. Trey Gibson won the race to make it to the majors and make his major league debut, get his feet under him. But Nestor Erman has been able to just sit in AAA and develop all year. 5-3 with 3.94 ERA over 91 and a third innings, 98 strikeouts to 33 walks. And he's gotten better as the year's gone on. We talked about him a little bit on the podcast last night about how I felt like there's more projection there. Like I think a couple off seasons from now, he'll be a tick or two higher with the velocity. The changeup is great. I think he's a guy that will continue to tinker and add pitches. So I think, yeah, he's a little bit slept on, but we're giving him the Cy Young Award now for the first half of 2026. The Rolaids relief pitcher of the first half, which I'm not even sure if that's still a thing, but I'm going to go a tie between Andrew Magno and Yaki Rivera. Magno, not much of a prospect really at all, but he's a left-handed pitcher that has a 1.02 ERA over 35 innings with 37 strikeouts. So he's got to get some recognition here. And Yaki Rivera, he split time between AA and AAA, but in his AAA time, he's got 32 innings, started 7 games. Obviously, not like start, but multiple inning starts, 7 games, 1.97 ERA, 39 strikeouts to 19 walks, and hopefully he will get a chance to make his major league debut this year. Biggest surprise of the year, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Christian Heberholz because I just did not see him even pitching in AAA this year at all, let alone appearing in 11 games with 43 and 2/3 innings. He's got a 4.95 ERA, 37 strikeouts to 20 walks. Just a more interesting arm at that level than I would have expected. I'm still not sure he ever makes a major league debut with the Orioles, but really filled in and gave some quality innings at AAA when they needed them. Biggest disappointment is going to be Reed Trimble and Peyton Eales combined, just because, man, what could have been? I think Peyton Eales could be in the majors right now if he was healthy all year, maybe even Reed Trimble as well. Trimble on the season has, let's count them up, 51 at bats on the season, and that's spread between 10 in AAA, 21 in high A, 4 in single A, and 16 in the FCL. And Peyton Eales, he has 98 at bats on the season, 84 in AAA, 9 in high A, and 5 in the FCL. And Eales had an 883 OPS in his time in AAA. Really got it done. And Trimble's got great numbers every single spot that he's played this year, but it's just ability to be on the field counts a lot, and it's been disappointing that they haven't been able to. Comeback player of the year in AAA, I'm going to go with Judd Fabian, just from the sense like he's not doing all that much to like earn a promotion to the majors other than play great defense and has 11 home runs. But second half last year was such a disaster, and we assumed it was injury based. And I think this year has proven that it was mostly injury based because he's basically back to the Judd Fabian, you would expect, batting 196, but a 338 on base percentage, 695 OPS, 17.3% walk percentage, 30.6% strikeout percentage. So he's back to being who he is, and maybe he gets a cup of coffee at some point in time. And the last award, quote unquote, that I'm going to give out is second half pick to click. And I'm going to go with Enrique Bradfield Jr., who, yeah, the overall numbers aren't fantastic. It's a 255 batting average, 661 OPS, but over the last month, since June 19th, he's batting 343 with a 790 OPS, which is a 114 WRC plus, walking 7.7% of the time in that stretch, 16.7% strikeout rate, which is what we want to see, 78 plate appearances. So, if he can keep that going, he'll be in the majors before the end of the year. Moving on to Double A, MVP is going to go to Ethan Anderson, the catching prospect who unfortunately landed on the injured list with a hurt ankle late in the first half, a couple games before the first half ended. But he's got 17 home runs on the year to go with 11 doubles, 270 batting average, 889 OPS, over 248 at bats, and his defense has looked pretty good. Like, I feel like he could catch, be a backup catcher, third emergency catcher if he's still hitting the ball this way. And you have Adley and Basayo at the majors. I think there's still potentially room for him. And yeah, the offense has really catapulted from last year. I think we talked about how his second half last year was encouraging, his AFL was encouraging, and he's really just carried it over brilliantly into Double A. Should get a decent run at Triple A down the stretch, I would imagine, here, if he can come back healthy relatively soon. A lot of options for Cy Young in Double A, including Joseph Giroux, who unfortunately for him in these awards is not going to come home with anything despite being the pitcher of the year overall. He's just split his time between High A and Double A too well, almost, where a 2.54 ERA over 49 and 2/3 innings in Double A, and a 2.21 ERA over 40 and 2/3 innings in High A. Yeah, sorry, these awards are going to not go his way, but the overall awards at the end of the year, I'm sure will, or at least the first half awards if you're not looking at just individual teams. But the Cy Young is going to go to another lefty in the Double A rotation, and that would be Sebastian Gongora, who's sitting at 8-4 with a 3.49 ERA over 87 and 2/3 innings, 86 strikeouts, 25 walks. He's been great, and I think he's really just going super under the radar for the Orioles. Gets up to Double A when we thought maybe he would start back in High A to begin the year, and really just hasn't missed a beat. The walks have been fantastic, a huge improvement from last year. Stuff is underrated. He can spin the ball, and he's a lefty that's going to give you innings. Like, certainly some mid to bottom of the rotation upside here, but even if he never reaches those heights, the success he's having is going to get him the Cy Young Award. Rolaids relief, it's no surprise. It's Micah Ashman, who has 4 saves, a 1.84 ERA over 34 and a third innings pitched, 56 strikeouts to only 9 walks. What are you doing in Double A still? The Orioles really love dragging their feet this year to keep a bunch of 4A guys on the pitching and hitting side in Triple A. In case of emergency, I guess I can understand it, but it's not as fun from a viewing and prospect following standpoint. Would love to see Ashman in the majors, let alone in AAA, relatively soon. Biggest surprise? Yeah, this mostly was based on the first couple weeks of the season, but he's really held his own. It's Anderson De Los Santos. He fell off from the red hot start, but he's still batting 234 with a 763 OPS. And for a guy who is a bad third baseman, decent first baseman maybe, but can hit the ball hard, I think at his age he's still pretty darn young. It's been a nice development year. If he can continue to progress, he walks a lot, he hits the ball hard. If he can lift it a little bit more, there might be something here. But it has been a pleasant surprise, as we talked about a lot early in the season, where he hadn't been in our top 50 in quite a while, and he is certifiably back in our top 50. Most disappointing player in Double A would be Tyson Neighbors. Yeah, we talked to him before the season started. We thought this is a guy that could make his major league debut this year. The stuff is so good, future closer potential, and yet he really just fell apart this year, mentally and stat-wise. Yeah, he has been probably one of the most unlucky pitchers in the organization when it comes to batting average for balls and plays, home run to fly ball rate, but he certainly didn't help himself much either. He has come back and had a little bit more success very recently, but on the season, he still has an 8.47 ERA over 17 innings pitched and a 17.17 ERA in 3 2/3 pitched for the Frederick Keys. Still has the strikeout stuff, but it's been not very pretty. Comeback player of the year is going to go to my man, Frederick Bemkosme, former guest of the show. Fun player, fun interview, and just really has rounded out his game a lot. He's always missed that impact to put on the ball to get extra base hits and even just singles, like push the ball through the infield when he gets his contact. And he is very good at not striking out. And he has got a really strong walk rate, 12.7% walk rate, 14.7% strikeout rate. But it's the 15 doubles, 10 home runs, 10 stolen bases, and playing the outfield a lot. It's been really fun to see him come back and maybe earn a promotion to AAA here soon and then just be one call away from a major league debut. Base Sox second half pick to click. I have a tie between Luis De Leon, who has really come on of late and looked much better than he did to begin the year, and Thomas Sosa as well, who has been red hot in July. And we've always talked about the ceiling with Sosa. If he can really start getting that raw power into games more often and take some more walks, strike out a tiny bit less, he has real 30-homer star potential corner outfielder if he can really get his stuff together and figure it out on the fly here. He's off to a good start in the second half. Moving down to high A, Frederick. Welcome back, Keys. I know it's been 4 months. Feels like you never were gone, but how soon we forget that the Ironbirds had been replaced by the Keys less than a year ago. It's been the best team to watch night in and night out. They won the first half in the league. They are somehow still together with the no promotions, and some players that have come in, like Randall Diaz, have helped out, and some breakouts like a Colin Tuft. It's been a lot of fun. And unfortunately, I want it to end because I want to see a lot of these guys up in AA. But let's get to the awards. Ike Irish is going to get MVP, 279 batting average, 893 OPS, 18 doubles, a triple, 15 home runs, 19 stolen bases, playing corner outfield and some first base. Like, he's our number one prospect for a reason. He's the highest floor with a decent ceiling. Better prospect than Dylan Beavers, I would say, at this point. I think if Dylan Beavers was still a prospect, I would have Ike Irish over him, except for the fact that Beavers was doing it at AAA and Irish in high A. The age and the projection, I think you could put Irish a little bit ahead of Beavers if you want to look at it that way. Again, a lot of good candidates for Cy Young with the Keys. You have Caden Hunter, JT Quinn, Boston Bateman, Twine Palmer, all pitched really, really well out of the rotation, and Joseph Jirwa, as mentioned previously. But I'm going to go with Eber Cartaya, who is 1-2 with a 2.63 ERA over 65 innings pitched with 75 strikeouts and 35 walks. Just a really breakout year for Cartaya, and again, going under the radar. There have been some outlets that have noticed him and written about the changes that he's made to make the performance pop a little bit more. And there's still some walk concerns, but I think at bare minimum, he is certainly a legit starting pitching prospect now in this system to potentially come up and be a mid to back of the rotation starter. Also think he could be a very easy transition to high leverage bullpen arm down the line if it comes to that. So very exciting season for Eber Cartaya. Hopefully he can continue that. Rolaids relief is going to go to Braden Sloan, who is one of the most fun relief pitchers to watch in the organization. 42 strikeouts to 14 walks in 29 2/3 innings with a 2.12 ERA. The changeup is ridiculous. Hitters just can't hit it for the most part, and hasn't give up a home run all year. Remains to be seen how effective it could be at the upper levels, but I'm very interested to find out. Would love to see him take Mike Ashman's spot if Ashman is promoted to AAA. Biggest surprise is going to have to be Victor Figueroa, who was kind of an afterthought to me when it came to the Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn trade with the Padres last season. And yeah, he does strike out 32% of the time. There's a lot of swing and miss there. He's pure first base prospect. But man, the power is real. 15 doubles, 3 triples, 22 home runs, 70 RBIs. I know RBI are not like anything, but it is weird and fun to see a guy with those kinds of numbers in one team in the minor leagues, because just not used to seeing that. He should be in Double A as well, batting 269 with a 929 OPS. Yeah, I don't know how projectable he's going to be if the swing and miss continues to get worse as he goes up the ladder, which tends to be the case. I don't think it's going to be playable, but if he can somehow rein that in and keep the power that he has, regardless, he's going to be a fun player to follow in the system the next couple years. Biggest disappointment has to be Colin Eman, who I was super high on out of last year's draft. Really liked the pick a lot, and he has just been on the struggle bus. He's certain flashes. There's been small stretches of success here and there, but man, I just don't really see much of anything. I think he's borderline organizational player at this point. Obviously, not saying he's going to get released or anything. I think he's more of just like, you hope that he can break out at some point, but at the same time, he can play solid infield defense and be stable at the bat. But he's batted 217 with a 597 OPS, striking out 26.5% of the time. It's been not good. For a guy that I was high on, who unfortunately is no longer in my top 50. Comeback player of the year, I have to give it to Braylon Tavera, just because it was basically looking like he was going to be a Michael Hernandez type of guy, where big signing bonus, big potential. You could see the athleticism, but never really put the skills together on the field. And again, there are still things that need to be improved upon. A 36% strikeout rate is not fantastic, but for a guy that can play the outfield pretty well, all three positions, he's started to flash some power this year with 8 home runs and 12 doubles, a 732 OPS. He's still pretty young. Got to give it to him. He's back on the prospect radar. Still not in my top 50, but I've considered it a few months this year when we've done our lists. In my second half pick to click, it's going to be Caden Hunter, who is in my top 10. I think I literally have him at 10 at my current top 50, and I don't think he's that far behind Joseph Jirwa, other than being like a level behind as far as where he is in the system, but the stuff is electric. His attitude on the mound is electric. He's a very fun pitcher to watch. The stuff is phenomenal. Just hopefully he can continue to hone in the command, keep up the stuff throughout a full season. And yeah, I think there's definitely mid rotation upside with Caden Hunter. Want to see him push to Double A before the year is out. Finally, let's go down to Single A Delmarva, who they have a lot of fun players right now. Jaden Loray, DJ Layton, Miguel Rodriguez. Like, I have a spreadsheet where I keep updated stats, and I'll add people as they're interesting. I'll delete people as it's like, not really interested in following this player right now on a day-to-day basis. Maybe they can earn their way back to my spreadsheet, my stats spreadsheet. But they have the longest list of position players currently of any team on this spreadsheet that I keep. The pitching side, they're probably the smallest because there's really not much going on there other than the Cy Young, who I guess I'll lead off with, Christian Rodriguez. Older player, 2024 draft, but coming off of, I want to say it was Tommy John, or at least some major injury. 5-4 with a 2.71 ERA over 89 and 2/3 innings, 96 strikeouts to only 26 walks. Really deserves to be in Frederick right now, but they need the innings because, like I said, there's really not much they have down there in Delmarva on the pitching front. In fact, the Rolaids Relief pitcher of the year for Delmarva is a guy that has just as many innings pitched in Frederick. It's Todd Knebi, who, this is interesting, he has appeared in 13 games with both the Keys and the Shorebirds, 18 and 2/3 innings pitched in both, 2.41 ERA for both teams, 13 hits allowed for both, 6 walks allowed for the Keys, 7 for the Shorebirds. But the difference was he struck out more batters with Delmarva, 27 compared to 19. Just find it interesting how similar his season has been between the two teams. But he has entered the legitimate relief prospect rankings for us. Going back to MVP, it's not as much of a slam dunk, but for me, it's going to be DJ Layton, who really has broke out in a big way this year compared to where he was languishing in FCL, not really getting in games, not having success when he was in games. This year, he's playing shortstop, second base, center field, hitting for power, getting on base with walks. It's been a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, he's raw, but there is real potential here. 252 batting average, 781 OPS, 14 doubles, 3 triples, 5 home runs, 28 stolen bases, a 17.8% walk rate to 29.1% strikeout rate. Hopefully, Professor DJ Layton can continue to excel in the lower minors. Biggest surprise for me is another guy who really I had nothing on last year in the FCL. That would be Braylon Whitaker, who plays a really good outfield defensively, has a strong arm, has 20 stolen bases, batting 277 with a 740 OPS, identical 14.5% walk and strikeout rate. Just been a lot of fun to watch him break out in a mini way this year and enter our top 50. He's cemented himself there. I think as long as he can continue to develop and move up the ladder, he's going to be on there a while. On the other hand, Joshua Lorenzo is my biggest disappointment. I was really high on Lorenzo coming into the season, and I still see the ceiling. I still see the potential. The raw power is there. He just has not been able to translate it into games. He's batted 181 with a 582 OPS. He is walking a lot, 15.5%. Strikeout rate has improved. It's 29%, but only 5 doubles, a triple, and 3 home runs for a guy with his power. Does have 21 stolen bases. He's fallen in my rankings substantially, and again, not giving up on him. I hope we get to see him bounce back the way Anderson De Los Santos and Braylon Tavera have. But for now, it's a big disappointment. Comeback player of the year, a little bit different. Here I went with Jordan Sanchez, who just has been a completely different player in the first month of the season and just a much better player since he came back from the injured list. I think it was like the end of May. Ever since then, he's really been good. His overall numbers is still only a 701 OPS, but he's been much improved, looks much more comfortable at the plate, much more like the player we thought we were getting coming into the season. And my second half pick to click has got to be Jaden Luray. I mean, loved his interview that he did with us. Loved that he actually knew about our rankings and where he was or wasn't, I should say. But man, ever since he's shown up on the field, he's just been nothing but hitting. 354 batting average in the FCL, 347 in Delmarva, 883 and 929 OPS respectively. Doesn't strike out, walks a lot, or has actually, he started out, he wasn't walking a lot, but he's actually developed that ability or just honed it more as the season has gone on. I think this is Nate George 2.0. He plays up the middle, he plays center field, shortstop, second base, just a really fun player, another high school breakout. You love to see it, and you love to be patrons of Orioles on the Verge, and we really appreciate that. So thank you for listening, and thank you for being a patron.